Welcome back to the part 2 of the employee database management system. Now, the next thing I would like to do is to be able to add all of the data entered in here straight into a database, and for that I'm going to be using SQL database. So what I will do next is I'm going to close this, and right here, this is the first one. I'm going to call this front end. Okay, that's my front end. Okay, now I'm going to go straight into the front end, create another. Let's select new file, and this new file, that's going to be my back end. So the first thing I'll do with the back end is I'm going to import Sqlite 3, and since this is my back end, I'm just gonna enter back end in here because the end user will not be seeing whatever is happening in here. But first thing, before I continue, let me save this. I'm going to save it as, let's say, I'm going to call it employee database. So get rid of these, just call it employee database, and get rid of this as well. So that's my database saved. Now that's the name. It's called employee database. For this front end to be able to use the employee database, we have to officially import the employee database. So let me just import that now. There we go. So the employee database is imported straight into the very first program that we created earlier. So I'm going to save it. Right. Okay, now that the employee database is imported, we now need to add some codes to this database itself. Let me just do my screen like this so that you guys can see what I'm up to. Now, for this database, the first thing I would like to do is I'm going to have to define a function. Okay, let's just call that employee database data. Employee data, that's fine. Oh, that should be import. That should be employee data. Enter parentheses and semicolon. Okay, right underneath this my function here, I'm going to create a variable. I'll call it can, which you can just call that connect. So I'm going to ask Sqlite 3 dot, I would like you to connect the following database straight into this my variable. So the database, I'll be calling that employee DB. So that is the name of my database. I don't have employee DB right now, but once I run the program, that will be automatically created. And just if you're curious, I can show you the location where I saved my database. That is it here. That's the front, and this is the back end. The database is now created yet. Okay, now that that is done, I now need to use a call. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask my can to create a cursor. So that cursor, I would like it to be saved inside what I will refer to as my current variable. So let's say can dot cursor. There we go. And just if you don't know the purpose of this cursor, it's an area within the memory where this variable can we add all of the data. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to get cursor here to execute the following. So let's say cars dot execute and let's say create. So we're going to ask it to create a table. Create, that will be a table if not exists. Of course it's going to have to create that table because it does not exist, and the name of the table is going to be known as employee. There, I'm going to copy that, paste that right in there. That is the name of my table. This table will have the following. Let's say an ID, and that ID, the data type is going to be an integer. Then I will also make that very integer my primary key. There we go. So you see that, create an ID. This ID will be an integer and it's going to be classed as my primary key. There, add a comma there. So that is the first, that's for the first column. The second column, I'm now going to create reference. The reference, if you guys remember, right in here I have reference, so I'm just going to copy that reference. That is my for column 2, and this reference is going to be text. And the next one is I'm going to create, or let's enter backslash there. The next one I'm going to create is going to be first name. So we can copy first name and just paste it right there. And first name also is going to be text, that lowercase, and this is meant to be lowercase as well. Right, so add another comma there. Then I'm going to go for surname, paste that in there. I need a text as well. It's going to be text, then followed by address. Address, that's another field. Text as well. There, and so on. In total I'm going to have about 13, 13 of those. Okay, now that we have all our fields in place, those are the fields I intend to use. You can see them with comma and so on. I will now ask the system, okay, let's say can dot commit. So what's happening here is this can itself will commit every single changes I have in here straight onto the disk. So the next thing is we have to then close the can once everything is committed to the disk. Right. Okay, the next thing we're going to do now is to be able to add all of this database. Okay, and to be able to do that, we have to create another function. I'm just going to call this very function add employee record, or I can just copy all of this, come right down here and paste, then change this. We're going to call it add employee record, but the record that I would like it to add is all here. Okay, so what we do is we have to enter the names of every single component here straight into the parentheses. Okay, now let's start with the reference. As you can see, I'm just copying the reference. I've left out the data type. The data type in this case is text. Okay, the reference, you can make that integer or whatever you want, but I just made all my text to make life a bit easy. Alright, the first data is, or the first column is going to be reference, and followed by first name, surname, address, and so on. So I'm just going to copy all of these, or even cut them off. Cut and just paste it right here and get rid of the data type, the text in there. There we go. Get rid of this as well. I may have to just expand the screen so that you guys can see what I'm up to. Now I have up to mobile. Then the next one is as follows. Let's copy all of these, paste them. Just copy this one first. That is for, that's the NI. Paste the NI there, and the next one is going to be student loan, and so on up to. Copy that, paste that in here. Right, I'm going to get rid of, let's put a comma here, get rid of every single text there because we don't need it in there. Right, that's fine. Okay, now that all of the fields are taken care of, we now want you to assign everything straight into Khan here. Okay, look at the data. The database, okay, will be assigned straight into this variable. Okay, and that's by the aid of the Sqlite 3. Now, what about the cursor? You see this cursor here? That cursor will create everything within the memory. But the current here .execute, we then need to change this. I'm going to delete everything we have in here. Just get rid of it. So I'm going to call that insert, all in uppercase, insert into employee. I think the employee should be in lowercase. Yeah, employee, insert into employee. Right, the following values, and these values, unfortunately, we have no idea. So in total, if you guys count, I have 13 of those. So what I'm going to do is I'll use question mark to represent each of these fields here. Okay, so the first one, that's the very first one, we have, I've copied that, the second, third, and 13 in total, and one more there. So those are the records that will go straight into the field, the unknown records. So I'm going to say comma, let's say backslash, and what data do you expect me to enter? Here are the data, so I'm just going to copy everything in here. Okay, instead of pasting it on the same row, I'm just going to go down here and paste there. So if you notice, I still have these com.comments, which means yes, go ahead with this following operation, and once you finish, close the system. There, that is taken care of. Now, how do we view this? So to view this, we then need another method or function. So I'm going to call it view data. There we go. No, let's do that properly. So we call that view data, parentheses there. Okay, for me to be able to view this data, there's something else I would like to be able to view. That would be the primary key here. Okay, I have my 13 fields there, but unfortunately the primary key is not here, so I'm going to represent that with a null value there. That should be there as well. Okay, now back to our view. So on the view, for us to be able to view it, so where do we view this data from? We want to be able to view the data from here. Okay, so I'm going to copy that again, copy, and just paste it right underneath here and get it indented properly. There we go. Now we want the execution process to go ahead and get the process or the procedure that we just asked for. We want it executed, so I'm going to use a selection statement. So select, let's use uppercase for that. Select, that is going to be star from employee database. Okay, so that is meant to be in quote, and just close that. Right, now we need to be able to fetch it as well. Okay, now let's fetch it role by role. So let's say role equals, I want to make that roles equals current dot fetcher, and there we go. So I will also close it and then return. Close, and let's get this process, the whole process, to return. So what is returning will be the content inside the role. So let's say roles there, get it indented. Right. Alright, since we can view, supposing we want to delete, I'm going to copy all of this and let's paste this right here. So we use that for delete. Now let's come right in here. So I'm just going to call that delete record. Delete rec. And where will the record be? The record will be right in here that we want to delete. So the SQL, we actually assign it straight into this variable here, and this variable here will go straight into the memory or the disk to get rid of this record we want to delete. However, how do we go about that? So in here we need to add delete, a statement, an SQL statement that will be delete from, okay, what we're deleting from employee, where the ID number, so that should be an uppercase, yeah, where ID equals question mark. Right, so we come out here and say comma wherever the ID is. There we go. And we ask you to commence this operation at the same time close the whole system. So copy that, commence, and close the system. There we go. That is that taken care of. Okay, we are almost at the end of this back end. Okay, the back end. Oh, we need, let's call this here, because the system we actually look for, we get confused if it doesn't know what to do, so we'll place that in there. So what will happen, the reason why this one is here, the system will first of all travel along, and by the time it gets here, see employee database, okay, I have to go straight to that method there, and the operation will start from here. Now the next one I want to take care of now is going to be called, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to call that let's say search data. Paste that in there and just change the name to search data. There we go. Now we have search data. Which data do you want it to search? Whatever data I have inside the reference, okay, equals empty for now. Okay, repeat the same thing for this and so on. I'm going to repeat the same thing for every single data in here. So let's speed that up. Yeah, that's it all done. You can't see the other data, so I'm going to enter backspace and just press enter. There, those are all the data that I want my system to be able to search. Okay, now where do I carry out the search? straight inside this database. And how do I go about that? The cursor will deal with that. So in that case, we now need to use what is known as select. Use a selection statement from employee. So we come in here, I'm going to copy this, make life easy for me, from employee, there we go, and that is going to be where the reference number equals this. So let's come in here, select from employee where the reference number, I'm going to get rid of these ones for now. Let's get the reference number on board there. Yeah, where the reference number equals question mark, because we don't know there. And the same thing applies to the rest. So the question number equals question mark, the right data is equals question mark as well, or repeat the same thing for this, and so on. So I'm going to speed that up and get back to you. All I'm just adding is the question mark. Okay, that is it, all done. But what data would you like me to search? So here are the data, so I'm just going to copy that instead of retyping it all. Copy and come right down here and just paste that there. Okay, but we also need to get it fetched, so we say row, come right down here, or I can just copy all of these here and just paste this right here there, and that takes care of this search. We now need to be able to update this data, so I'm going to copy everything we have in here and paste that in here. So let's scroll down a little bit. So I'll just change the name of these to data update, something like that there, data update. Okay, and right here spot something that I've left out. You see the delete record, so we need to specify what ID, and there should be a comma in here, right? So correct that if you've made that same mistake. Okay, now that we have our update, okay, I'm just gonna make sure it's all correct. I have my 13 records in there, and it's going to be what I'm updating is going to be inside this. That's the name of it. Okay, employee database, and right here we now need to use an SQL to get it updated. So update employee, okay, update employee and sets, or where the set record equals reference. Get rid of this, we don't need all here. Reference, and we have to enter a comma though. I'll repeat the same thing for this one. Let's get rid of those. Right, almost there now. And one comma here as well there. Okay, and what am I updating? All of this from this ID. Enter ID in there. Let's make that lowercase there. Okay, so what else? I would like it to commence, and once it commences, once that is finished, I would also like it to close. So this goes, and that would be the end of my back end. make sure it's saved. There, that's my back end. Have a good look at it. I'm going to bring it down so that you guys can see the rest of the codes. There we go, guys. There. So I'm going to make sure this whole system runs now. So what I'm going to do is, let me show you this is where I save my database, everything. But this very one, I am going to now try and run it to make sure it creates the database for me in here. So let's just minimize it a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to come in here. Let's hope there's no error. There, we do have an error, so let's get that sorted first. Yeah, so my very first error is I have a column open here, a bracket open here, another one open here, but I did not close the other bracket here. Okay, that is, let's hope that's the end. So let me see, let's come back in here, close this, and let's try to run it again. We have another error down here. Okay, let's close that. I don't think you guys can see it properly. I'm going to put, alright, that's good. I think it's about the same error, 1 2. So we need to close this as well. So close here as well, and it's likely I will have the same error here, so let's close here as well. There. Okay, let's try it again. Let's see. There, I'm going to move this aside. There we go, look at it. It's just created my database. Okay, so maybe I'm going to delete that so that you guys see it's created again. Delete. Now run it again. There we go, you see that? So I'm going to now go straight to the front end of my system. Let's close this. This is the front end of my system, if you guys can still recall. Remember, I call it front end. That's the alias name for it right here. And when I run the front end, this is how it's gonna look like, if you guys can still recall. There, but nothing is working right here. Look at that, nothing works. Okay, it looks beautiful, but there's nothing happening. Now let's write 1 or 2 functions. The very first function that I'm going to take care of, now that this database is working fine, as you guys can see, the database is fine, everything is cool on the database. So I'm going to have to kind of like move it aside and open up this, and let's add some function. The first one I would like to take care of, let me take care of the exit. Let's take care of the exit and the reset. Okay, to take care of the function, I'm going to come right underneath here. You see where I created my frame earlier. I'll come right underneath here, just copy this, and I'm just going to call that function. Change this to functions. There. Now I'm going to copy all of this because I'm going to need it anyway. So copy that, and that I will use that for my function reset. So I'm going to come right down here. Let's just take care of that now. Enter a reset function there. Reset, enter parentheses, come right down and paste everything that I've just copied. So copy this, and use those to replace every single string variable in here. Just replace it, keep going, there we go, and so on. So that will be my reset taken care of. Okay, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I finish that. Alright, that is it, all done. But I don't need this because I already have other payment due right here, so I'm going to get rid of that. So all the payment due will always default back to 0. I don't need CT within and the basic pay, I don't need that in there. Okay, that is it, all done. I think I may have to get this indented so that it doesn't give me any error. So select it all, and let's just go to format and indent there. Now the next function, let's try this out anyway. So copy this, I'm going to go straight down on where I have my button resets. So come in here, comma, command equals reset. Okay, that's how you call that very function. Okay, enter command equals reset. So I'm going to run it. Let's see what's going to happen, and let's just enter whatever in there. I'm going to click on reset. There we go, my reset works, but this one is not taken care of. So let's come in here. I think I remember that is going to be, that's the reset. So reset function, come right down here, and the receipt name is, I'm going to say self dot txt receipt and dot delete whatever you have in there, and that is going to be one, close that, comma, end, make that capital letter, uppercase. There we go. That should take care of that very receipt object. Okay, let's see this. That's good, that's fine. Alright, so now let's take care of exit. So function exit, so I'm going to copy that again. So let's come right down here and just paste that in there, but we have to change the name to exit. So I'm going to call that to, maybe we can just call it I quit. Yeah, so I quit, that's the name of the function. And right here I'm going to say I quit equals as follows. So that's going to be message box, but in this case we have to call takinter dot message. Very good, takinter dot message box. And what I want to ask is, let's say dot ask yes or no. Yeah, yes, no. And what is the question? So the question will be confirm if you want to exit. Alright, so in here we enter that, and that is going to be employee database system. So that is going to be my title. There we go. So that's the first argument that she's going to take in. The second argument is going to be confirm if you want to exit. Confirm if you want to exit. There, that's the second argument. Close that, and let's use an if statement to validate the selection made. If I exit, I quit, is less than 0. So this is what I want the system to do. I want it to destroy root dot destroy parentheses and return. There. Okay, let's call I quit with a button. So let's come right down here. Where is exit? So in here, paste that in there and just enter command equals I quit. Okay, that's taken care of as well. So I'm going to run the program and let's see what's going to happen. We have an error. What might be the error? Okay, indentation. Okay, I'm going to select it all and just de-indent it. Come in here, de-indent, or you can just press Control whatever. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing for all these other ones. So I'm going to go back in here and then indent, get it indented one more time, and now indent this one separately. Okay, click on that, tab, and tab here, and here, tab, tab, one more, there. So let's give it a try again. Hopefully I should be, yeah, it's fine now. Click on exit. There we go, exit is working. Reset works, and exit works. There. So that's fine. So that is working how we want, but we need these following buttons to do some work for us. Okay, but another thing we can do is maybe take care of this, but instead let's just call it the end of the second part of this tutorial, and I'll see you guys shortly.